Your product descriptions are a big part of the foundation which determines your entire Google Ads success. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining the best way in 2023 and onwards to create your product description so that your Google Ads campaigns actually reward you. By the way, this product description strategy, which I'll be going over in this video, is the same one I've been using to scale this e-commerce brand right here in the last 30 days to roughly an 11.40x ROAS, or this e-commerce brand right here, where we scaled it to over 8.8x ROAS in a matter of 30 days, or also this e-commerce brand where we scaled this to a 6.69x ROAS. Let's start off by understanding how the Google Ads algorithm actually even determines whether your product description is actually ideal or not. And to do that, we need to understand first and foremost what a good description even means. The first point is that the description keeps Google's users as long as possible on the platform. That's the first point. Second one, the product description should lead to a low bounce rate for your website. And the third and most important point, it actually gets the users taking action. The most important of all thing you need to understand is a description that Google prefers is the one that makes its own life easy. And what I'm talking about is the Google Ads algorithm's life. Believe it or not, the algorithm also has a life, and its life is essentially to figure out what your ideal audience member is. So keeping that in mind, we move on to the actual strategy for the product description. And I want to kind of lay out the ideal product description layout before we look at a few examples. The main points you want to have within your product description is number one, there's proper copywriting. Number two, there's proper use of search engine optimized keywords, meaning those keywords which have actual value to them, rather than just having a bunch of words such as the, or best, or so, or what, just random filler words. Third thing, your product description should have some sort of FAQs, and the examples we go over will kind of explain this further. The fourth and most important thing, your product description should be anywhere between 200 words to 500 words. Let's now start by looking at some of the descriptions which follow this perfect ideology. The first one is for a brand called olukai.com. In fact, I covered this brand in one of my latest videos where I went over their Google shopping ads and exactly how they're doing 300 grand and more per month in revenue. But today we're only looking at their description, which, believe it or not, is only this little small section right here. Because if you scroll all the way down, the description here, this is not necessarily a description, just a definition of the title of the product. And then at the bottom, these are just image related text words, so they're not really classified as description pieces. But all the way to the bottom, and there's nothing else which can be classified as a description. So what I want you to understand is just how small this description is. But despite that, if you go on Google and if you just type in the word sandals, for example, you will be able to see that they're ranking number 1 for their product and also number 3 for one of the most heavily searched keywords, which is pretty amazing. But the reason why they do that is not just because of their description, but also because of these other factors. But for the sake of this video, let's focus on their description. It's very simple, very straightforward. Our best-selling essential beach sandal made with cushioned water-resistant sandal materials that will make your feet feel like they're in the island. So they included the main search engine optimized keyword, which is beach sandal. They also included it again in terms of water-resistant sandal right here. And that was pretty much all they did for the SEO side of things. Not the best search engine optimization techniques because they only used keywords twice, but that makes sense because their description itself is fairly small. What they also added on top of that is one of the points which I mentioned earlier, which is making sure that you do proper copywriting. This piece right here, it essentially is telling you how you're gonna feel when you're wearing these sandals. You're gonna be transported back in time to when you were on that beach in Hawaii or just that beach on the Caribbean islands, which is a proper use of copywriting techniques which makes the user feel something. There's a little bit of trust-inducing factors such as best-selling, which again helps add a little bit of extra trust to the description, and that is pretty much it for this description. What I want to show you is the FAQ section. Now, it does not have that FAQ section specifically within the description itself, but if you scroll all the way down to this section right here, which is the review section, you will notice that they've actually laid out the reviews in a way where some of the most frequently asked questions are actually answered by these reviews. So they kind of put the reviews with the most text up at the top. And you can do this, and it's very effective, in fact, because Google's algorithm does crawl through all these words that appear on your website, and it will read through that. But that's just one of the examples. I want to show you guys another example that I have where it's a bit more use of words, and it is for this honchoslides.com website, which I thought was very interesting because they're selling these cloud slide looking sandals right here. But what I want to focus on is the description. So right at the top, they have this product features description portion where they're talking about how beneficial the product is, what it's made of, all of that stuff. They're also using effective SEO keywords, which can again help it rank a bit better. But the most important thing they have included here is this FAQ section, which again, Google goes through, it reads, it tries to understand what you're saying, and it also reads through your reviews at the bottom. But from these two examples, there's a few things you should be getting. Number one, although it is important to have 200 to 500 words, that's not gonna be the biggest deciding factor of how effective your description is, because like we saw with Olukai, barely any words in there, but still ranking number 1 and number 3 for very highly searched keywords. That's exactly what we're doing for also the clients under my Google Ads agency or marketing, which if you're currently doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue, you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your brand to the next level. Go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can potentially work together and make that happen.